Alright, so let me just give you all a little update on the chicken coop. As some of you may have noticed by now with all of my projects, the further along I get, the crappier, for lack of a better term, my projects become. I start to get bored. I don't know if it's the engineering ADD in me or what, but I start to get bored and frustrated, and I just start to want to get it done and over with. My wife and I both have half a dozen ongoing projects at all times, and we seem to never finish them. But we reach a stopping point in all of them, so we start a new one. So we won't get off on that. Anyway, I just want to give you all an update where we're at tonight. I don't know what all was encompassed in the last update, but basically I've started working on the actual coop itself, and so let me take a step back here so you can see kind of the whole picture. Okay, so here's the outside front of the run. There's the door, and you can see the other door down there on the end, the old coop. And then, so you come into the run, it's 2-foot wide doorway here, and then on the left-hand side, there's going to be this full, it's roughly 36-inch wide by 8-foot long coop. And what I've done is, because I have so much of this pine lumber that I bought for my bee boxes, I just started using it on the coop instead, because we're a little tight on money right now, and honestly, I don't really care. It looks alright. So what I did was I took these, they're 8-foot long, 1x10s, and I just stacked them up horizontally. Well, then that opened the concern for what about water leaking through each horizontal groove. And again, I'm not real concerned. This coop is, certainly going to last me 2 years. Although this won't be painted, I'm sure it'll last at least 2 years. But anyway, what I did was I took a piece of plastic and I stapled it on the inside here, and then it goes down in an S through the slot, and then it hangs off the back side. So how it goes up on this side, it goes down on the back side of the bottom board. And what that will do is that any water that sheds down that back wall won't wick its way into these cracks, because it will hit that outer plastic and just shed off instead. So it works kind of like shingles. It gives it a little bit of overlap. Maybe I can see, if you look down in here, no, you're not going to be able to see it. Or maybe you can. Let me get the light in there. Okay, so there you can see how it is. It comes through that crack and it drapes down. So water will run down there, and then it'll run over. It'll keep water from getting in between the cracks. I mean, it can sit right there on top of the plastic, but it keeps it from soaking into the top of the board below. So anyway, let me get my light rig back up here on my big noggin. So anyway, I've got that put on for the backing. Now, several people recommended I just do an open air coop down here in Houston, and I think for the most part I'm going to, but it is getting cold right now. It's middle of November, and I don't intend to heat the coop at all, but I want the birds to have some protection from the elements. So I went ahead and put the back on. I think that'll remain, and I put these ends on. And so for the ends, I took the same 1x10s and I just stood them vertical, and the only thing holding these ends on is 2 screws there, 2 screws there, and 2 screws there. So 3 boards. There's no screws at the bottom, no screws at the top. It's just, I can almost grab it and wiggle it. And the point is not that these provide any sort of real security, from a varmint, so to speak. We don't have bears or anything down here that's going to try to tear it apart. And plus, outside this, I've got the chicken wire, so I'm not worried about anything coming through that. It's mostly just a wind block. And what this will enable me to do is, when the weather warms back up, I can pull those 6 screws, and this whole wall's gone. I've got an open air coop. For the bottom, you can see I'm left with about a 3/4 inch ledge all the way around, and then of course my center supports and my front lip. So I'm going to get one 4x8 sheet of plywood and cut it to fit and just lay in here. I'll probably do 3/4 inch plywood, so just lay in there. I'll notch it around this doorpost, and on this end somewhere, per my wife's request, I'll have the little drop down access door. So the plan is, a little drop down door here. That way I'll be able to run a string or a cable up and over the top, so that I can just come out here of an evening and pull it up if I want to. I imagine with this run being as secure as I've built it, I really don't need to close up the coop at night, but it's good to have that feature. The nest boxes will sit over on that end. I think I'm going to do a 4x2 stack, 8 boxes for 18 hens. That should be plenty. My brother and I used to run a flock of 125 with, I believe, 25 nest boxes, and they were boxes that they didn't use. So it's just a preference they seem to have. They pick the box they want, and I've seen as many as 3 hens crammed into one box just because that's what they wanted to do. There were open boxes available, but so I think for a 2x4 stack of boxes, 8 boxes should be plenty, and then I'll just have basically open floor space over here where I can put in food, water, whatever, and I'll put a perch. The perch will run probably from the end of the nest boxes across here, and I might do a ladder perch, with 2 rows, and they'll also be able to perch on top of the nest boxes themselves. Since the inside of this coop is 39 inches and the top of the nest box will be 24, they'll be able to sit up, up here atop the nest boxes as well. So I'll be able to put in my food and water on the front here to give it the security that it needs on the front. It's 8 foot wide, and so I'm going to put on 4 2-foot wide doors, and I'm going to do them as a sort of suicide door, if that makes sense, like how they, suicide doors on a pickup where they fold together. So there'll be a hinge point here. There'll be 2 hinges here, one for a door on this side, one for a door on this side over here, and then there'll be a hinge point on this end for a door and on the opposite end for a door. So I'll have a total of 4 doors. What that will enable me to do is be able to come here, and I know this is not a good vantage point for you guys, but basically there'll be a joint and 2 doors here with an overlap point. So it'll give me, I'll be able to open up 2 2-foot wide doors and give me a full 4-foot wide opening. So, I'll be able to come out here to get the eggs, be able to open up the doors, full open, reach in, get what we need to get. Now, this doesn't allow us the cute little option to, pop open the back of the nest box and reach in underneath the chicken. We are going to have to confront the birds to reach in under them, or just come collect the eggs when they're not laying, which is probably more likely. Just collect the eggs of an evening or whatever. So anyway, it's coming along, slow progress. I think for once I'm going to go in the house. It's about 9 o'clock. I'm going to go in the house and hopefully get to bed before 10:30, considering I get up at 5:30 in the morning. So I would like to actually get some sleep tonight. If my daughter's asleep. My wife took over, bless her heart. My daughter was not in any mood to go to bed. Anyway, I'm going to pick up the tools. Like I said, just want to give you all a little update. You're used to watching my nighttime videos by now, I'm sure. So, I apologize for the headlamp, but hey, gotta work when I can.